came up with 2 things to talk about today besides how much I hate the Daleks. How cool is that? Welcome to the Time Treadmill. I'm Ron, and these are my sweaty thoughts about Doctor Who. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do hate the Daleks, and I'm happy to talk about that at length, but it is kind of a one-note show, so I'll move on to my other 2 points. Thing number 1 in Death to the Daleks. The driving, ticking time bomb of Death to the Daleks is that there is a plague sweeping across the galaxy, and on the planet Exelon there is a particular material that is key to curing the plague, and so millions of lives hang in the balance. But honestly, a massive pandemic threatening the lives and economic stability of the entire galaxy? What a completely unrealistic concept. I mean, it's hard to relate, but moving on. The name of this magical resource on the planet Exelon is Perineum. Perineum. The actors had to be very careful to put the emphasis on the correct syllable, because if they didn't say perineum, they'd wind up saying perineum. Every time they say it, all I can think of is not some magical chemical, but instead the taint. So there's that. As a side note, I thought about putting up an image to indicate what a perineum is. I did a Google Images search, and I just want to say, don't do that. It's bad. Moving on to the second topic. This story, Death to the Daleks, contains what I consider to be the most egregious special effect in the history of Doctor Who. And in a show that's filled with wobbly sets and obvious guy wires and terrible rubber monsters, that's saying quite a bit. But the final sequence of this episode, with the destruction of the majestic Exelon city, that effect is achieved by melting styrofoam. I mean, it is just legit straight up styrene panels with acetone sprayed on them and heat applied and then filming while they melt and fall over. It is egregious. The truth is that Death to the Daleks is a story that I just wouldn't recommend. I mean, it's not horrible. The plot itself is actually not bad, and it's reasonably well executed within the budget they had, but it's not great. It's certainly not among the best of the Third Doctor era. It's definitely not among the best of this season. It's just kind of there. The one kind of silver lining to this story is that the upshot of it was the producers approached Terry Nation for writing a new Dalek story in the next season, and they pointed out to him how much he continues to rip off his own previous material. Turns out he wasn't even aware he was doing it. All of these endlessly recycled plot points and pacing and story elements that he's been using over and over again in Dalek stories for more than 10 years, he didn't know he was doing it. It was a complete blind spot. And so that conversation with Terry Nation gave him the nudge to write what is not just the best Dalek story, but, and I'm saying this about a Dalek story, possibly the best, most significant story in Doctor Who history. It's a story that I completely and uncritically love, and I'm so looking forward to getting to it in a couple of weeks. But that's a few weeks off, and we'll get there. But yes, you will actually in a few weeks hear me talking about a Dalek story where I don't say how much I hate the Daleks. So that'll be nice. But long before we get to that, we have to move on to the next story tomorrow and the return to Peladon. I'm excited, and I will see you then.